What is going on, everybody? DJ Mines here, and I have the honor of being joined from the artist Satoshi from the Radiant community. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, DJ Mines. How you doing today?
I am excellent. So I have to say, I had a Twitter poll, and Radiant was at the top of the list, man. How's that make you feel?
I mean, that's it's pretty amazing. Their community has been growing exponentially recently, and it's just been awesome to see people come together and help and really stack hands to build on this amazing project and technology.
Yeah, man. So I started mine Radiant actually fairly recently because I neglected to add Radiant to something. I did like a video or a stream, and man, people were mad. So I said, okay, I'll give it a try. I gotta say though, it's pretty efficient actually. Like surprisingly, I think even my 3070s were under 100 watts, which is really cool. So I do have a question from Serpent X Tech. He is a fellow YouTuber. Shout out to him. This is from Twitter. He says, what examples of use cases regarding NFTs can be applied with Radiant?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. A lot of times people just think of JPEGs as NFTs because that's been, for the most part, the functionality so far. But really, NFTs can be much more functional. They can also be fungible tokens. So there could be CBDCs or other tokens that are created for companies or services that could be used there. So Roblox or any other company could manage its wallet services through that. Also, you could have things like auctions, games, different tokens, of course, for different companies, apps, and just different NFTs that could also be variable and change, especially because of the induction proofs that are built into Radiant.
Okay. Hey, that's what I want to hear, man. Because yeah, like you said, all I know is JPEGs, and so rude of me, man. So, what exactly separates Radiant, or what could you tell us from an entry level person like myself, or someone who doesn't know much about Radiant? What is Radiant? What problem does Radiant solve?
Yeah, so Radiant is really taking from all the learns of blockchain that have happened over the past 14 years. And we really haven't used or realized the potential of what Satoshi gave us in the original white paper. Many people feel it, and we're always chasing through different chains all these solutions. And we in Radiant hope that we found a really kind of a rebirth of Bitcoin, because it is Bitcoin core and code that has been kind of the genesis of it. And then just a whole bunch of little tweaks that hopefully are from the learns and lessons of the past that will help it scale and grow into the future.
Okay, so taking off from Bitcoin, everybody loves Bitcoin. I mean, you see, I'm wearing a little Bitcoin myself. So, what do you think Radiant has learned from some of the mistakes, or maybe not even mistakes, but advancements of Bitcoin?
Well, I think the Atoshi person or team, whoever it was that created Radiant, they really thought hard about all of the scaling issues that have happened. And so you see little parts of that have been built into it, like the split node system, some of the speed issues relative to other chains. So SPV, which is section 7 of the original Bitcoin white paper, was never really fully utilized or realized in Bitcoin. And so they decided to go to fee markets and layer 2 lightning and stuff like that. Well, Zero Conf works. It works right now. You can test it out with Chainbow and other wallets on Radiant. So anything under, let's say, probably 2K is perfectly safe to do a zero confirmation transaction. So things like that should have been fixed a long time ago. Um, we think that we've got the right mix, so that way we can solve the blockchain trilemma.
Okay, that's a great answer, actually. So, I failed to mention this in the beginning, but for folks who did not see, Flux team, if you're not familiar with Flux, Daniel Keller did have the artist Satoshi on there from Radiant. I thought you did a great job over there. Question: at any point in time, because a lot of my viewers are miners, do you see Radiant going FPGA or ASICs in that direction at all?
Actually, we do get that question all the time, especially with the recent CASPA switchover and drama. So it's something that has been on the mind of a lot of the community. And I'm a GPU mining right now myself, so of course I have these same questions. Really, it kind of goes two ways. Uh, there's very likely to be technological advancement, and we do want the advanced tech to work, and we want the hash to secure the network. So will we be trying to play cat and mouse and change the algo? Probably not. But Radiant is open source. It is free for anyone to fork or modify. So if a faction decided that they wanted to create something new, it wouldn't be Radiant. It would be Radiant ASIC proof or whatever they'd want to call it, right?
Yeah.
And you know, that could be something that people do, and they're free to do it if they would like. So I think that's where proof of work really takes over, and you just allow the economics and people to make their decisions, because it really is truly something where no one can stop it. This is not a controlled environment.
I appreciate that, not a controlled environment. So something I'm seeing more and more with a lot of the newer proof of work coins is the fact that they're more efficient. And then when they're more efficient, like you mentioned, with those algorithms, yes, they are more susceptible to those ASICs and FPGAs. So something I think about, at least as a GPU miner, is if you really like a project and it is efficient, why not get as many coins as you can? Hold on to those coins because, yeah, potentially, or probably more than likely, they are going to go FPGA or ASIC. So good time to hodl potentially. Okay, I have another question. Or did you want to say anything on that? My apologies.
No. Thank you. And if you don't mind, I just actually watched your video from, I think it was 5 days ago, the April 28th or something, I think you said. And you were speaking to exactly that point. And it was kind of music to my ears, to be honest, because I feel exactly the same way. We should feel lucky that we are here in this moment and have this opportunity to do what we're doing. And we should take advantage of it. And it's the same economic incentives as Bitcoin. So if people who are invested now, they'll be the ones getting the ASICs and they'll be the ones securing the network. I think really the only choice we have is whether or not we try and be part of that process or we react to that process. And that's a personal choice that everyone has to make.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know Rabid Mining by chance? I don't know if you know him.
I think I've conversed with him before. I've never done a video.
Okay, so yeah, his questions, will ASICs become a thing? You kind of already answered that. So I have a question for you. What is the future roadmap, or what is something that little Timmy out there can be excited about for Radiant to look forward to?
Yeah, so I mean, we really don't have a official team or official roadmap, and I know that's very odd compared to most other chains out there. I will say that I think it depends on what you're doing. The creatives are working on their creative stuff, and they're waiting for the NFT standard to be finalized so that they can launch their collections. The devs are working on their projects to get those NFT standards done so the creatives can then work. There are people working on exchange things. There are people that work on trying to figure out like how to best grow the community and nurture it. So I think everyone kind of finds a lane depending on your talents. And that's really an amazing thing, because I always tell people, do you use your blockchain or does your blockchain use you? Ooh, and really in Radiant, we value proof of work, not just hash, but work of all kinds.
Okay. That's a solid answer. Ooh, I've never heard somebody say that before. Question for you. And this was from Twitter by multiple people. The wallet. How concrete is this wallet? Is there going to be any different types of wallets, or are we really sticking with the wallet that we have on the website right now?
No, absolutely. In fact, Chainbow Wallet should be out of beta soon. We've partnered with Chainbow, which is a company out of Japan, and they have an awesome wallet. If you're interested in testing it out, it's fully functional. I use it all the time. Yeah. Save your seed words, of course. Not your keys, not your coins. That's always the way it is. But it's a non-custodial wallet, and the beta is available inside our Discord. The Samara wallet, we are probably going to be forking and modifying a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it at the moment. There's some server issues. So I'll just be very forthright with that there's plans to adapt that into the future. That's one thing. And the Electron wallet is totally functional. A lot of people have recommended UI changes to it. Definitely something we can do in the future with assistance, of course.
Okay. So on your website here, maybe not yours, but Radiant's website, I see proof of work is green. Now, question. Is that because it's an efficient algorithm, or could we potentially get some proof of useful work long term? I don't know what the plans are for Radiant there.
I think it's to the efficiency of the SHA-512/256D. We just usually call it SHA-512. It is a very efficient algo, as you mentioned. you can run it with lower power than is usually required with other chains, and that's due to those efficiencies. Also into the future with potential ASIC development, on 64-bit architecture, it actually runs about 50% more efficient than SHA-512. So it actually has the chance of becoming more efficient even as hash increases. So that's a very interesting dynamic to it that I don't think a lot of people think about. And I don't think the security of 256 is actually in question because everything else would go with it. But hey, we'd be one step ahead at 512. So there you go.
Hey, I'm all about that. See, unlike a lot of other people, I'm a crypto miner, man. Whether that's GPU, ASICs, FPGA, CPU, I just like crypto in general. So I'm all for whatever happens, man. I'll be part of it. And so for me, it's exciting, especially, I mean, I love my Bitcoin. Who doesn't love their Bitcoin? But, you get a S19J, we're talking 3,000 watts. If you're estimating around 50% of that, 1,500 range, that'd be really cool. I'm all for that, I love efficiency personally.
Yeah, I mean, power is a large percentage of the cost for miners, so it's not a minor issue in any way. No pun intended,
Random question. What does Radiant mean, or the inspiration behind the word Radiant, or is it just a cool name?
I actually had the luck of asking this question, and the answer that I got was that Bitcoin and blockchain nodes radiate information out, and they always create a network that spirals and spreads information to other nodes. And the thought was, it's radiant is like that as well. It's you're radiating from one point to another and spreading that information.
Okay, now that's cooler, man. That's cool. And your logo there, at least your personal one, looking like the sun radiating. I like that vibe for sure.
Yeah, you get the tie-in now. and photons, they're the particles that the smallest particles in physics that move as fast as the speed of light and really have no mass and appear and disappear out of matter, and we barely understand them, but it is a base of physics, so that there's some meaning there as well.
Yeah, there's some really cool terms behind that. I like that. Network fuel, the fuel of network. This is according to the website. The network fuel, the fuel for the network and Radiant unit. A small amount of Radiant is used to pay transaction fees to miners. Is there any adjustments or anything that you can see for changing for miners? I know for Firo, for example, miners were getting a lot of rewards originally, kind of adjusted as time go on. Or do you think this is more of like a concrete, set in stone kind of deal with Radiant?
Since the protocol is set in stone, I believe, of course, unless someone forks it and creates something different, that would be what it is. But for Radiant itself, the halving and inflation schedule is set just like Bitcoin. The max amount is programmed in, and you can do the math as to when the blocks are going to be processed. So we know that the halving, our first halving, is going to be right around 417 or so at this point. So of next year. So
it's one of April 17th of next year.
Correct. Yeah, I'm hoping the miners slowed down a little bit. It used to be 420. We were going to party, but hey, we'll make it a week-long thing. We're actually already doing some planning for a Vegas convention, so we'll invite you for sure.
Yeah. Oh, in Vegas. Well, I mean, it's far away, but hey, you never know. Stars might align. Okay, so your first halving. And another thing I kind of failed to ask, and I feel bad about this. When roughly did Radiant launch?
Radiance Genesis was June 20th of 2022. So today is the 317th birthday, whatever, of Radiance existence. So not even a year yet.
That's cool. Congrats on that.
Yeah, it's amazing to be part of such a young project that's already accomplished so much, and I'm really proud of the community because it's really everyone working together.
Now here's a big one. All right, I'm going to have to hit you with that. Hit everybody with this. Was there a premine?
It's a great question. I was not around on day one, but I can tell you that I've done my blockchain analytics. I asked hard questions of everyone, including, well, I could, people in the very beginning. And the best I can describe it is it was an insta-mine like Satoshi did. The information was on the GitHub. It was available to mine day one by other people. And I did speak with multiple people who I know from blocks that they did mine on day one. So there's a question as to how much the creator actually mined, but I can definitively say from blockchain analytics that it was less than half of what Satoshi mined for Bitcoin.
Okay, and
So
Radiant's still 1,000 times more than the
a
Bitcoin.
1,000 times more supply, but I
Yeah.
mean, really, if you want to put it into absolute terms, the max amount that I can tell that a Toshi team or whoever it was mined was about 2.5% max, where Satoshi is estimated to have mined about 5%. So it's part of the bootstrapping of the network. A certain difficulty had to be reached. I I don't know this, but
Yep.
my speculation is maybe that uh, the difficulty wasn't changed from zero. So when you strap a GPU miner onto your original Bitcoin and you start from zero, what do you think happens? How fast do you think you get to mine? Right.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that's essentially what happened. And like I said, it's something that you either accept or don't. There, in fact, there was a little quote that I had. Let me find this real fast. Yeah, so I asked Atoshi and had a quote that they said I could use. And they said to me about the launch, there will always be people who have had their own ideas of how they would have done or launched something, and that's okay. My hope is that people focus on using the technology and creating what they want to exist. I hope this helps
Ooh.
you.
Ooh. Hey, I like that. I like that a lot. It's not for everybody, but if it is for you, hey, I mean, it's out there. You can use it, choose
Yeah.
not to use it. Question here. It's going to be my final question from Twitter. I don't know this person. Would you ask them, how are they going to fix the lack of hardware acceleration for UTXO lookups? I don't know
Interesting.
if that's a loaded question or not. I said I'd be asking more questions on Twitter this time.
So I don't know exactly what they mean by hardware acceleration for the UTXO lookups, and maybe I can talk with someone a little more versed in that to have a better educated answer. But there is a problem with looking up through large volumes of data, finding that needle in the haystack. It becomes computationally difficult. Now, one magical thing that Radiant has is something called the induction proof. And the induction proof is, I believe, 16 digits code that is essentially like a DNA stamp that tells you that this item is the same one as the parent item, as the other parent item, as the other parent item. So instead of having to search and find every single one of those hashes, it's much less computationally hard on a machine because they can just search for those induction proofs which prove the lineage. So in a way, it solves that back to Genesis problem, which is kind of, I think, what they're asking about.
Okay. Hey, that's some great answers, man. Well, I want to say this. Regardless, Radiant is a newer project. I am all for it, man. There's so many poo-poo coins out there, and I definitely don't think that Radiant is one of them. So pat yourself on the back. Anyone who works at Radiant, any of the community members, shout out to all of you. Seriously, we need this. I mean, Ethereum, ditched us all. And so I'm very excited to see so many proof of work coins popping up. Just know community's got your back. I got your back. I'm very excited for the future of Radiant. And I want to say just thank you to all of you. Do you have anything further to tell us, Satoshi?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not Satoshi. I'm the artist
The
Satoshi, but it's
artist
all right.
Satoshi. Yeah, you're right. Correct me on
It's
that.
all good. I get that all the
What if you
time.
were the real one?
I know people
Yes.
accuse me of it every day. It's fine. Go watch his video. There's a video of him, one surviving video where he talks about Radiant. I think you'll be able to tell very easily that his voice and mine are different. So if that's anyone needs proof, there you go, right there. Watch both videos. You'll both appreciate it.
All right.
But besides that, I really want to thank the community. I could never ever have done this alone. I wouldn't have. It was people coming together to try and use technology that we're passionate about and really make it so that it helps humanity. I mean, I know it might sound like appley and dopey or whatever, but if we're just using blockchains just for the sake of blockchains, we might as well be using PayPal or Square or something else. It's just a digital transit, and if we have third parties we have to trust, whether they be VC or whatever else, it's not the original vision. So we're trying to get back to that, and we will say, Bitcoin is the big dog, and they're
Yep.
perfectly fine. But everything south of that, I feel like Radiant really in time will prove its utility and its worth, that that we deserve to really kind of be partnered with Bitcoin. And what's beautiful is being both the UTXO, we could be effectively Bitcoin's Lightning, more effectively actually, because of atomic swaps and blah blah blah. We can talk about this in another video, but it's I think a match made in heaven. And even better, it's the same ethos, it's the same genesis, it's community run and decentralized, and that's a beautiful thing in this day. So I really appreciate everyone from the Radiant community. And hold on one sec. Last thing I'll say is the future is radiant, because I always say that to my community. So I really appreciate your time, DJ Mines. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Much love. And how can they find you? Twitter?
Available on Twitter at the Art of Satoshi. Also our Discord for Radiant. Link is in my Art of Satoshi profile on Twitter, so probably a good place to go through that.
Awesome. I'll put that in the link in the description as well. Peace out. Thank you so much.